Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson. Motherhood is both amazing and difficult at the same time. The Passport Mommy, Michelle Jerson, is here to share in your journey.
It's amazing. It really is, just watching them grow and see how much change and how much they learn just without the filters around them.
Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome to the show. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. I hope you had another good week at home with your little ones or your older ones. How are you doing? I hope you're staying sane and healthy. I know we're doing okay on this end. We really are. We're keeping active. We're doing activities. And one thing that I feel is really important during this time is to stay active for you and your children. So today I'm very happy to have with me my old friend, my good friend, Kevin Flynn. He is a physical education teacher at PS 277 in the South Bronx. He teaches 400 students, and he started a YouTube channel during this pandemic time to help give children and parents some ideas of things that they can do to stay active when they are home. It is called Coach Flynn's Physical Education from Home. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, so good to hear from you.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit, how have things been with you and your family at home?
It's a big change since I don't have to take my crazy commute down to the city right now. Being home with them gives me a lot more time to do activities with them, spend more time with them out, obviously. And teaching from home is an interesting challenge.
Yeah. So you teach the kids in the South Bronx. What grades do you teach, and what challenges do you face with that?
So we have 3K, which is our 3-year-olds, all the way up to 5th grade. So
wow.
I see, it's a pretty crazy schedule I have. Unfortunately, I only get to see them once a week. So having to do this from home gives me a little bit more time to work with them, which is nice. The only difficult part is they don't have the equipment like we normally would. So I have to really come up with different ideas, especially for small spaces, since everybody pretty much lives in an apartment with multiple siblings and family members. So I come up with different activities that they could do with their whole family or by themselves with limited access to equipment. So when you go onto the YouTube page that I have, I come up with activities like tinfoil hockey, where you just crumple up a tinfoil ball. And if you have a brother or a sister or your parents, you could play this game. You get on the floor and you play basically hockey with your hands with the tinfoil ball. It's a lot of fun. Kids really enjoy it. The other cool thing about this is that my students are very tech savvy, and they're able to take videos of themselves playing it. So then they send that to me as the completion of their assignment.
Oh, that's great. And that must make them feel really accomplished too, in that they can do this and they watch the video, they learn something new. I know I was watching some of your videos last night, and you were teaching me how to juggle with 3 balls, and I haven't attempted it yet. But I was like, how much fun is that to try to master?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I taught myself how to do that when I was about 10 years old, just from a book. So that stuck with me forever. So I've been able to do that and then, teach it in my own classes, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't do more than 3 because trying to do any more than that is a little bit too difficult.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend of mine who is a professional juggler, and she does all kinds of corporate events, and she's amazing. But she was trying to teach us one time. I went to one of her events on just how to juggle with a few balls, and it's not easy, but I think that it translates into a lot of life skills too when it comes to juggling.
Yes, full hand-eye coordination, patience, perseverance to get through it. And just taking the time to work on it. The way it is nowadays for kids, they're usually on some sort of electronic device. So for me to be able to give them something that they can do tangibly at home helps a lot.
Right.
A lot of the parents seem to appreciate and have been trying to do it themselves. So, I come up with a lot of different activities. Like yesterday, my son and I, we did one where we played table tennis using a balloon. So we cleared off our dining room table. I set up some cups as a net, some plastic cups, and then we used a balloon and played a little table tennis.
Nice. That's great. And like you said, a lot of your students are in small apartments. And I think a lot of people right now, whether they're in your school district or not, if they're in New York City, they could definitely use this because many people are in small spaces and they're not necessarily even going outside every day. So these are great tools.
Yeah. So, what's really fun with this is that I'm able to get both my children to help do the videos with me. So I also have the warm-up that I have our kids do each day is the alphabet warm-up. So they have A through Z, and each letter represents a different exercise. So with 26 letters, you got 26 different exercises to try. And some of them are a little bit more difficult. So the ones that I used to be able to do, I have my children do.
Right.
I'm not as flexible as I used to be.
That's great. Yeah. And I enjoyed watching your children do the videos as well. And I think that's great because it appeals to kids their age also. And they think, oh, okay, well, if they can do them, then so can I.
Right.
So what are some other tips that you have for, say, the parents that are home with these children right now, as far as learning new activities, ways that they can help them, and ways that we can help ourselves stay in shape and stay on top of our mental and physical game?
Well, taking some time out of the day, with everybody working from home, basically, taking the time to just check out my page. Every video is basically no more than 2.5 minutes. Some are a lot less. I really haven't made one that's any longer than that. So it's just take 10, 15, 20 minutes out of your day and give it a try. Just don't do it once. You try to do multiple things. So like with the alphabet warm-up, a good way to do it is that you have them work on different words. So health-related words, it could be people's names in their family. So then they do multiple exercises while spelling it out, which is great for the younger kids. Yeah.
And I like that your videos are short because we do know, especially the younger ones, their attention spans are just about 2 minutes, or at least I could speak about my 3-year-old. So I think that's wonderful because, and same for us too. I mean, when I've been trying to get my workouts in, a lot of times we don't have the hour long, length of time that we may have had to go to the gym at one particular time. But hey, if you see a video that says it's a 10-minute workout or a 15-minute high intensity interval, that's all you have to tell yourself is, hey, it's 15 minutes out of my day. Let's just do it.
Right. Yeah. And then you still get you get some of the 5th graders that say that they can't do this, they can't do that. I said, well, you have enough videos that you can choose from mine.
Right.
You could also search any other engine on those YouTube pages for exercises and stuff like that. So I encourage them to do that. Also, the latest one I did last week was to create a game so they could come up with their own and then videotape it, send it to me. Then I can look it over and, see if it's, how they did with it.
Right. Nice. And do you ever post any of your students' videos online?
That one I won't do because I don't have all the signatures that would allow me to do that. So the only ones I do is with my own children.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, that's smart.
So I could share the videos with my school, with my principal. Those are basically all I could do that with.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. But they must feel so proud that they're able to take this video of themselves doing something new, send it to you, and then they'll have that looking back on years from now, and they'll be able to use it when they get older. Hey, maybe they'll even save it and use it with their own kids.
Yeah, they feel like they're little movie stars with it. They have a lot of fun with it. They crack up, and I've heard in the background, I could hear them watching my video and hear myself in the background, so they feel like they're working with me at the same time.
That's great.
So I haven't been able to try the live streaming just yet because it's too difficult to get these kids on at the same time.
Right.
So I haven't been able to do like a live stream, which would have been really cool, but who knows?
Sure.
I know we're stuck at home for probably for the rest of the school year, it looks like. So maybe I might be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's amazing how much you're doing already because you have to get creative in these times. And I'm sure they really appreciate everything that you're doing. So again, what is the name of your YouTube channel so that people could check it out?
So when you go onto YouTube, just go on the search engine and you type in Coach Flynn's Physical Education from Home, and my page should pop up within the first 3, I would believe.
Great. So we have about a minute left. I personally have a 3-year-old. What is some quick exercises you would recommend for her, some activities that she should do?
Well, anything where you work on some balance. You could have her try to stand on one foot. You could do a lot of yoga poses with her. Any of the videos that I have up there, she would definitely enjoy, especially the ones with the balloons. Mm-hmm. Those ones would be a lot of fun. And just watching the exercises, they can do pretty much almost all of them.
Great.
You know, you working with her, that would be a lot of fun. So you get that interaction with your own child.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think is most important during this time, is just that interaction that we have and the bonding that we could do during this time. I did try to sit with her the other day and do kids yoga. Didn't go over so well, but I will try again, and I will try your videos. Kevin Flynn, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, it's Kevin Flynn. He is a physical education teacher at PS 277 in the South Bronx. Check out his YouTube channel, Coach Flynn's Physical Education from Home. I'm Michelle Jerson. More coming up in a few.
Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Happy to have with me my good friend, comic and dad, Marshall Stevenson. He has joined me so many times on this show when we were not in a pandemic, and I always enjoy speaking to him about what's going on with his daughter, who is a few months older than mine. And Marshall, you are in the Bronx. I'm here in Connecticut. How have things been going for you?
Yeah, well, fine, I guess. You know, it's all perspective on how badly everybody else is doing. But there's no New York Beer and Brewery Tour, so business is bad. And because we're in an apartment with no outdoor space, we're, we don't really, it's all right. You know, we're managing. How are you doing?
And how do you deal with, I know you said there's no outdoor space, but you could go downstairs and outside. Are people going outside in your area? And are you okay with going outside knowing that you have to share an elevator with other people?
Well, the elevator we think is the most dangerous part. So if there's a package downstairs for us, we're like, oh, good, we can go out. Because if we have to go downstairs anyway, we might as well actually go to the park.
Right.
So that's really sort of how it's been doing, because we've been, we go out. We go to the park, and it's nice. Although my 3-year-old says, I don't want to go out. I'm scared to go out. And then when she goes out, she doesn't want to walk on the grass. I'm not sure that we know. Well, she says, no, there's too much dog poop there. Maybe you guys don't have that problem in Connecticut. And although we don't have that problem here either, she seems to be making excuses why she doesn't want to the grass. So we can't totally figure that out. And we go for a walk, and then we come home.
Right. Okay. Yeah, no, I'd have to say that my daughter is a little bit of the opposite in that respect, in that she's all about taking off her shoes and socks and running wherever she wants. And we have this common area in our complex, which is a big thing, a patch of grass with a gazebo. She loves to run around there and anywhere she can without any shoes on. And I had to have to talk with her that, hey, let's wear our shoes. There could be poop on the grass here.
Oh, so you were not worried about the virus, or worried about poop?
Yeah. Poop and
ticks.
I
don't worry about poop. Like if you step in poop, you could just wash it off.
Yeah,
I'd say don't worry about that.
Yeah, I guess
poop.
Where we are,
poop.
What's that?
Poop. Is this really what we're worried about right now? Stepping in dog poop?
No, I was just trying to teach her to keep her shoes on. But, it's funny. I'm trying to teach.
She learns that habit later? You think she can learn that later? You think you have to instill that good habit of leaving your shoes on early?
I'm very loose about it. Look, the other day she ran out into the driveway in her underwear with nothing else on. So, again, some days I try to enforce it.
But
and
that's
some
okay,
days
too, for another reason. 3 years old in underwear, nothing. Who cares?
Right, exactly. No? Exactly. I just want her to be out. She was out. She was having fun. She was running around. I was like, go ahead, go out however you want, as long as you're outside. But I think, things are a little different where we are in that, we haven't gone anywhere per se. We haven't gone to any stores. We haven't, gone anywhere, but we do still go outside and we go for our walks and our jogs. And there are people outside also in our development, but everyone's pretty much staying clear of each other.
It's really surreal. It's a strange time. And, the kids, you have to, 3-year-old is a particular, challenge as far as communicating to them what's going on. And I'd say that my kid is doing pretty well. Like she won't wear a mask, but then she looks out the window and she says, those 3 people aren't 6 feet apart and we can't go because a lot of places, because a lot of people are sick. Right. So she gets it, but then she says, but I want to go back to school.
Oh, yeah. I know. Do you know, I have to tell you, I thought you might find this funny. The other night, I was saying goodnight to my daughter, like we always do. We cuddle and we talk. And out of nowhere, out of her mouth, she mentioned your daughter's name and then mentioned about being at your house for pizza and strawberries, named the songs that were playing at your daughter's birthday party, and talked about your daughter had Ernie and she really wanted to play with him, but it's because it was your daughter, she didn't.
Wow.
And I was like, that just came out of nowhere. And then I said to her, do you remember what other friends were at her birthday party? And at first she says no. And then I mentioned one of the other friends' names who was there. And then she went off about like the last time that she played with her in the playroom in our old building. And I went online and I was like, is this normal for kids that age to have? And I did read that actually kids our age, our kids' age, remember a lot more than we always thought in the past, which was really interesting to me.
We've been noticing similar stuff. Now, do they notice it until forever, or do they just notice it until they're 4? Because, yeah, she's having memories from when she was like 1. She's still going to have those when she's 10?
That's what they were saying. They were saying that a lot of times you may not carry them into adulthood, anything that's happened before 3, but at 3, you will remember things that happened, like you said, at 1. But then they say that memories that start now at 3, they could carry into adulthood. But that was just one article I read.
That's so interesting. I think the science is that when we actually have memories of childhood, that there's something in the brain is we're not actually remembering the original memory. We're remembering a memory of it. So if we keep thinking about memories, then they stay. So that would explain why they remember things at 1.5, at 3, but then they forget them by 5. It's because they're not reminiscing. Like they're not doing like what we do as adults.
Exactly. And we have to wrap this segment, and I want to talk more about it next segment, but that's what they were saying, in that it's up to adults. If they keep bringing it up and they keep telling the stories, the kids, it will register as memories and they will remember it as they get older. We're speaking with Marshall Stevenson, good friend, dad, comic, going through the pandemic in Bronx, New York. More in just a few.
Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson. Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy, here with Marshall Stevenson, comic, dad, owner of the New York Beer and Brewery Tour, which, by the way, is an amazing tour that you should probably go get a gift certificate to right now for when you are done with this pandemic, because what better way to go celebrate than going on an awesome beer and brewery tour in New York City and the outer boroughs?
Well, I agree. I was just going to say this wonderful tour, which doesn't exist at the moment. But thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so we were talking about before the break, our children's memories, because I was so impressed with last night as I was putting my daughter to bed, how she just brought up your daughter's name out of nowhere. And granted, we don't see each other that much anymore because we don't live in the same area, but she brought up your daughter's name and then just spewed every detail from her birthday party. And I just couldn't believe it. And so it got me to looking up, and reading more about toddlers' memories. And it makes me wonder, because a lot of us might think, our kids won't remember this time of what we're going through and they'll get through it and then we'll move on with life. But I wonder if these toddlers will remember this time and how it will affect them moving forward.
Yeah, I think they will. And I think that right now, she remembers a lot. She says everything in the past is yesterday. Oh, we did that yesterday. We did that yesterday.
Yeah, same.
But this whole time where we stayed inside, yeah, I mean, if you want to be negative, you can say they're going to remember the time before this when we used to like go out to restaurants and to Yankee games. Do you remember that time? Remember when I used to go to school before we stopped doing anything for the rest of our lives?
Well, it's funny. I was listening to an audiobook today, and the woman was saying, and actually the audiobook was about potty training, which we could talk about, but I was listening to her and she was saying that she thinks children, the memories that are installed in them the most are not the trips to Disneyland or not the going to the baseball game, but it's actually the memories that you just make as a parent with your child on a daily basis.
Well, it introduces the really important question is this good for children in general because they're spending so much more quality time with their parents, presumably.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe all of these activities and all going everywhere and just kind of racing around trying to fill our days. Maybe it's better to just not leave the house. Maybe it's better for the children to do nothing.
Well, this woman, according to her, and she was just speaking, this book was written before the pandemic, but she was saying that boredom breeds creativity. And that kids should stay home, and it's okay not stay home every single second of the day, but it is okay to not book your calendar with activity after activity. And that's actually better for them, she felt, in her point of view.
I agree with that. And we've talked about this a lot over time, like to not schedule and let them be bored and let them have adventures and let them explore. I think that it comes down to this. It's just, all of those things are true with the boredom, but it's just a limited space. So maybe if you have enough things that there's discovery every day and it's not all coming from the screen, maybe that really is good. But it is limiting. Like, the Disney World isn't, you talk about memories. I mean, maybe the Disney World, do you remember, Michelle, when they were really little and you bought them a toy and then had a kitchen spoon, and she was more interested in the kitchen spoon than the toy, or she was more interested in the packaging than she was. So it's like maybe the Disney World itself was not the experience that she remembers, but every part of that trip, from the moment you leave the house to however you get to the airport, to the airplane or the car ride, all of that stuff is an imprint and is learning the way life is and the beat of, and the way people interact with each other and all this other stuff. So I think the going places is really, really valuable, even if the memories, like what I'm saying is the memories might be, I got to go on this great car ride with my parents all the way down to Disney World, and the Disney World is second. That would be compatible with what this woman is also saying. Right.
I agree. I definitely agree with what you're saying. And again, they don't need to remember every single thing. But, talking about that, I took my daughter on a trip, her and I last year while I was still pregnant. So this was probably last January. And again, the other day in bed, she says to me, we were talking about the trip. I said, do you remember the trip that me and you took together? And she says, yeah, I had all this pasta. And that was like a big thing there. So she had this huge bowl of pasta and it was all over her face. And I was like, I can't believe that you would just pull that out. And just like, it's like she has all these little pieces of memory floating around in her head.
Now, wait a minute. Look, can I guess something in that scenario? Sure.
Yeah.
Is it possible you took this amazingly hysterical picture of her with pasta in her face and she's seen the picture a few times since? Because that would make the memory, that would explain why the memory was so vivid, because you keep reminding her of it.
Right. I did take a picture, but no, she hasn't seen that picture. She doesn't go through my phone. She doesn't, she does go through my phone, but she doesn't go back to pictures a year ago. So you're right. That would bring that up, but no, that hasn't happened. So I don't know.
I wonder how far back the memories are.
I know.
Like when they're 2 years old, do they remember when they were 1 month old?
I don't know. It's shocking to me. And, when she said this about your daughter's birthday party the other night, I started bringing up other things. I said, do you remember when we lived in the city? I said, do you remember where we used to go? And then I said to her, do you remember we used to go to this place, Equinox, where I used to drop her at daycare or, a few hours in the morning? And she says, yeah. And you left and I cried. And I was like, what? But then she said something about someone spilling water on her, and I don't know what that was about. But
all right. So the conclusion is so far is just, one of the memories that my daughter keeps bringing up is that time she threw up in the car. And she just keeps saying, remember that time I threw up in the car? So it's like, so at the end of the day, the kids have lots and lots of memories, but they're not of the things you want them to remember. They're just of random things that happen.
Exactly. It's a lot of random things. And that's what I was reading in the article too, that they said it's just like a lot of little pieces of a puzzle that are just all around their brains. And
you made it happen that we went to the Big Apple Circus and did a big to-do. She remembers everything about the car ride but nothing about the circus. She says, we didn't go to the circus. Don't you remember the bicycle and the high wire? No, but you're right. But she totally remembers throwing up in the car.
Oh, that's hilarious. Wow. All right.
But I mean, the throw up in the car was memorable. I have to give it that. But I think she also remembers like mundane things that were not. Well, that's what we're talking about. She remembers, how she had spaghetti on her face. Exactly.
That you would never.
And we had this situation that I mentioned when she was like 1 year old and she was in the laundry room and we left the soap on the top of the machine. We came back half an hour later to change it and the soap had fallen and then it got all over the floor. And she told that story over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Realize it's the biggest deal thing that ever happened to her.
Right. That's so funny. That's like the other night, she was sitting on the potty with her blankies and one of them got wet in the toilet. And then we washed it off. I said, we should put it in the washing machine. She said, no. So I said, fine, here, take it. And then that night, apparently I forgot to put a diaper on her. I don't know what happened there. And then we talked about how her blanks got all wet again. And every single night before I put her to sleep, that's all she wants to talk about. And she wants to talk about it in every detail, every step of the way on how upset she was and how then we cuddled and then she fell back asleep. And then I washed him in the morning.
Well, it's their entire world. It's their entire world, so we have, I'm sure that if we live this particular life we're living now, we're just sort of in our houses, maybe we go to the store for a drive or whatever, then we would have limited memories too. It's like, remember that time I had to flush 3 times? It would be like that.
Right, exactly. So, it's funny. I've been going through Facebook and granted not that often because I don't really have a lot of time. And it's amazing to me, all these people that are like, I'm so bored or, oh, I picked up this new craft and this project. And I think that's wonderful because, man, if I didn't have kids, sure, I would be spending this time doing all kinds of things I've always wanted to do. But then you have the group of people like us who have toddlers. And it's amazing because I don't have a second in my day. I think I have less time than I used to have because she's not at daycare.
All right. So here's the thing with my wife and I. We're both artists. I mean, for better or worse, I'm a comedian and she's a painter. And we have jobs. And we have a toddler. So we are spending most of our time watching her watch Frozen, which is another issue entirely. We're taking care of the toddler, and we're trying to do our jobs. I do a tour company. My wife is a teacher, so we've got to do the Zoom thing. And all we want to do is our art. All I want to do is write comedy, do sketches, whatever it is, and all my wife wants to do is paint. And then we have to scroll through our Facebook feed like, I finished another jigsaw puzzle. Why did God give you idle time and not me? I have real plans for this time. Why? It's just so jealous. Like, I'm sorry to hear about how bored you are, but we are busy.
I know. And I agree with you. But I do have to say one thing, that from seeing it from another perspective, in that, say somebody maybe is single, they could be doing all these cool new things that they've always wanted to do, but maybe they're bored and maybe they're lonely, and maybe they're not as lucky to have these little kids running around their apartment or their house as much as we are. So yes, I'm with you. It drives me crazy when I see how even another mom who has a child has scheduled their day from top to bottom with all kinds of activities, and how great they did today with homeschooling. It drives me crazy because it's like a competition all over again.
Yeah, grandstanding your parenting is bad even when we're not in a pandemic.
Exactly. So I don't like that, because I feel it puts unnecessary pressure and doubt in people's minds. But I will say that scrolling through my Facebook last night, I did come across one post that really put everything in perspective for me. And I'll just read it really quickly. This woman posted, she said, "The year is 2036. I'm in an eerily quiet house. Both kids are grown and have moved out. I'd do anything to be quarantined with my 5 and 2-year-old and the sounds of their tiny feet running all over the house. And this is how I started my day. Hope it helps another." She wrote, "Tired mom." I agree with you. And you said it should be tired parents. But regardless, it just puts things in perspective that, you know what? Maybe that person who's writing on Facebook from morning until night with their umpteen activities that they get to do, they don't have the pleasure of having children in the house like we do.
Yeah. And, that, of course, that should be said. And, like everything else with this pandemic, I mean, when we complain about whatever hardships we have, of course, we have to say as a footnote that we're really grateful for what we have and realize that everybody else is doing. So, yes, of course, I wouldn't give up having this 3-year-old right now in here for the world. It's and so, well, you called me out, so now I have to be defensive, right? Like I have to say, well, no, I was kidding. I wasn't really saying that I'd rather have, idle time. We're all obviously jealous. I'm never jealous of people on Facebook. I think it's stupid. People totally curate their own lives on Facebook. And yet, the people who are like, "Oh my God, look at this. Look, I did a dominoes thing across my house. Isn't this?" I'm like, God, I wish I had that kind of time.
Right,
what do you
exactly.
mean you did a domino thing? I would do much more better productive things with my time than that.
And I agree with you 1,000%. And believe me, every day I have the same conversation with my partner. Like, I need more time. I want more time. I need to do this. I want to do that. Absolutely. And so everybody has their thing that they're going through. Man, I wish we had more time to chat. We'll have to do it again next week, Marshall. Good luck with another week in quarantine.
To you too.
Thank you so much. What's that?
I said, thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. Anytime. Marshall Stevenson, he is the owner of the New York Beer and Brewery Tour in New York City. Go get your gift certificates, support a small business, and you will not regret it, because for your upcoming trip to New York City when this is all over, it is the thing to do without your kids. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. More coming up in a few.
Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
So there's so many things to consider. If you are a college senior this year, you may not be able to do your traditional graduation. You may not be going to your senior prom. But have you thought about your AP classes and your AP testing? And for that, today I have with me Lori Benton. She is the Senior Director for Counselor Community Engagement at the College Board. She's been in the field for 25 years, and she currently leads the development of initiatives, programming, and training to support school and college counseling professionals in the U.S. and internationally. Hi, Lori. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Good to be here.
Thank you. So tell me, with the unprecedented spread of coronavirus, it's closed schools across the country, some for the rest of the year. What is the College Board doing for all of these students who need to take their AP tests?
Well, right now we know that schools and communities are navigating these challenges created by the coronavirus, and we just wanted to make sure that all students have the opportunity to take those AP exams to earn that college credit and placement they've been working hard towards all year. Students have worked hard in their AP courses, and as you mentioned, lots of things are not happening, but we wanted to make sure that they had this opportunity, and the students agreed. They're eager to take AP exams. We surveyed 18,000 AP students nationwide, and 91% of them indicated they wanted to complete this important step. And so we know that AP prepares students for success in college by helping them to develop those skills they need throughout college. And getting AP credit can absolutely help students and families save time and money in college.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I think it's incredible because what a disappointment to think, wow, you started your AP classes. They are not necessarily the easiest of classes, right? But you're up for the challenge. And then you find out, oh my gosh, I can't take the test. So how are students able to take these AP exams at home?
Well, what we're doing, and it's very innovative and ready to support all of the students. And so for the May administration only this year, students will be able to take 45-minute online exams at home. The exams will be given from May 11th through May 22nd, so write that down. Each subject exam will be taken on the same day at the same time, and makeup tests will also be available in June. Now, one thing to remember is that students can take these exams on any device they have access to, whether it's a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone. They can also take a photo of handwritten work and submit it. So if students are worried about not being online for testing, they can let us know by contacting us with a form. There's a form on our website, and that website is cb.org/coronavirus AP students. Again, cb.org/coronavirus AP students. And it's an opportunity for students to let us know what their needs are, but also to be able to get the most up-to-date information about changes with the exam and what they need to know.
That is perfect. That's really wonderful. And so obviously students will get the college credit by taking these online AP exams. What additional resources are available to prepare students for the AP exams just because they're not in school right now to get the traditional education?
Correct. We know that everything is new. This is a new environment for all of us, but we want to make sure that students and teachers have the information and the support and resources. And so we have free live online review classes that are available on YouTube whenever students want. So they're live, but then they're also recorded so that they can look at them at their leisure. The classes are taught by excellent, experienced AP teachers from around the country, and they're designed to be used alongside work that may have been given by the schools. Now, these review sessions are not required, but many students find the sessions helpful. There's already been 4.7 million views. We also, for teachers, have included an online tool that was rolled out earlier this year called AP Classroom, and this allows teachers to continue their remote instruction and help students to prepare for the exams as well. We have added a new optional student practice section that students can also use to practice the concepts and skills that will be tested. And as a reminder, this year's AP exams will only include topics and skills most AP teachers and students have already covered in class by March. So it's important that students understand what's going to be tested, what the format is. They have been practicing this all year long. The only difference is now they're going to be testing at home.
Terrific. Wow, Lori. Well, I can't thank you enough for all that you're doing and the College Board to make sure that students continue their education and their testing so that they can be well prepared for college. Thank you so much. Tell everybody again where they can go for more information.
cb.org/coronavirus AP students. Again, cb.org/coronavirus AP students. And for that YouTube link, youtube.com/advanced placement. Two great places to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lori Benton, the Senior Director for the Counselor Community Engagement at the College Board. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay healthy and stay safe.